We're going to start by just doing a little bit of neck release just because Sandy walked in and said that he felt that. And I've been doing this before I go to sleep and it's fantastic. So that's great. So we're going to start by just lying down on our backs. And you'll want to make sure that you do have one of your balls and a block nearby. And the first thing you're going to do is just lie down. Oh, and then Barbara, do you have a strap as well?
Somewhere in the room, yes.
Okay.
Go ahead and I'll locate it.
Okay. So the first thing I want you to do is just notice when you lay down on the floor how your back body feels. And it might be one of those things that you want to have your legs bent, you might want to have your legs straight. Fantastic. But just take a moment to notice what it feels like for your body to be completely flat. And then after you feel like you've got a mental imprint of what that feels like, I'd like you to lift your head and put your head on the block and then just notice what that feels like. You've just got your head on the block and you're noticing what that feels like. Okay. Now, those of you that do have a ball, I want you to grab your ball and you're going to put it underneath your right side of your occipital bone. So there's like a bone at the back of your head. It's kind of closer towards your ear. You're going to put the ball underneath that bone and then slightly tuck your chin to your chest and then slowly turn your head towards the right. And you're just going to see if you can find a spot. So as Roberta asked at the beginning, it's not in the middle of your spine. It's literally on the right side. Okay, and when you find a spot, you know you found a spot. And you're like, oh gosh, that feels painful and glorious at the same time. And you might just stay there or you might slowly rock back and forth. But I want you to make sure you're breathing. And if you do not have a block, you can do the same thing by turning the block on its beveled edge. And you just sort of dig the corner of the block into the back of your head. And after you've taken a few movements, I want you to just go to one place and pause and still and just breathe there. Good morning, Robin. Robin, do you have a tennis ball with you? No?
And what did you ask me?
Do you have a tennis ball?
Oh, I'll see.
If not, no worries. If not, no worries. You can use your block and you just turn it on the beveled edge and you use that. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. There's the video. You use this edge and you sort of dig it into the back of your head. Okay. Awesome. And then let's go ahead and come back to stillness. Remove the block, or remove the ball rather. Let your head just rest on the block and just notice what you notice between the sides. And you'll just take 3 to 5 breaths here. And then when you're ready, you'll try that on the other side. So you'll now put the ball underneath the left occipital bone. You'll tuck your chin to your chest just slightly, and then you'll slowly roll your head to the left. Oh, okay. So Sandy's wasn't fantastic. So how do we make yours more fantastic? Okay. And you might just stay still. You might move a few times right to left, but you're just giving yourself a little bit of fascial release at the back of the neck. And sometimes it can also create like fun little sensations across your eyeballs. So yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I see light. It's kind of fun. So you just notice what's happening for you. And then you'll go ahead and find a fun spot to pause. Well, I do, but you choose whatever works for you. Because you want to be able to soften around the ball. Great. And then you'll go ahead and come back to center, remove the ball, let yourself settle for a moment and just notice how that feels on both sides. And after you've taken about 3 to 5 breaths there, you'll remove the block and let your head be flat on the floor and just notice what you notice. Fantastic. Okay. And then we'll do one more ball thing while we've got it before we get into our practice. So go ahead and roll over and come up to sit. And this last one, you're just going to put the ball underneath your calf. What the heck is this? But it's at the top of the calf, kind of where the insertion points for the hamstrings come in, and then the bottoms of the calves come up. And you are just going to slowly roll right to left on that ball. And some of you will be happy as a clam doing that. Some of you will flex and point your foot. And you're just feeling what that feels like. And I know that for me on the medial side, so the inside, it hurts a lot more than it does on my lateral side. So I just like to hang out there, but you do whatever the heck works for you. And if you've had enough of that, you'll go ahead and come to stillness, slide the ball down just a little bit. So now it's more in the sort of meaty part where the gastric anemius and the soleus connect. And again, right to left. Are we okay? So they're laughing in pain over here. How are you guys at home doing? Is it that bad? So it's fantastically amazing and lots of sensation is happening over here for Erica. Okay. And then you'll pause and you'll roll it down one more time. Oh, okay. So Erica's having fun. Sandy's making grimacing faces and Roberta seems okay. Okay. All right, and then after you've done that, you'll go ahead and release that and just notice if you notice anything different between the sides. We're just doing this as a prep before we start doing a bunch of hamstring stuff. Right? It's amazing. Okay, and then we're going to try the other leg. So it's again at the top of the calf. It's right, I guess, the hamstring. What? Okay, so Roberta found it on this side. So maybe you may not feel it on one side, but you might feel it drastically on the other. And you can just go a little right to left. You can flex or point your foot. No, or not. You're just paying attention to what that feels like. Okay, and we'll go ahead and pause and you'll slide it down a little bit. So now it's in the bulbous part of your calf. And again, you might point and flex that foot. You might shift a little right to left. Make sure you're breathing even as you're making faces. Yeah, it's very crazy. I spend so much time sitting and then go ahead and roll it down the third time. And I'm surprised that my legs hurt. Like literally I sit down all day long, so I don't know why my legs hurt. Okay. You found some? Okay, great. And then once we're done with that, we're gonna go ahead, release that, and you guys are gonna make your way over to hands and knees, and we're done with the ball work for now. Well, it depends on how we feel. I can have us go back to it if we want to. There's so much stuff you can do with the ball. Hands and knees. I want you to just do a few cats and cows to feel how that feels. And I might do one more ball thing just because it hurts, but it feels really good afterwards. I don't know. It feels like one of those days that is just fantastic. Fantastic is the word for pain. Okay. And then after you've done a few cats and cows, you're just going to notice what it feels like to then move your spine in any other way that feels good. So you might take some barrel rolls. You might take a little bit of a side body stretch. You might even take a twist through the spine. But you're noticing, so we worked on the neck and we worked on the calves, two parts that aren't directly connected, but notice how they might connect, how other parts of the body feel by simply opening them up. Okay. And then as you're ready, let's go ahead and come to stillness. Curl both sets of toes under and press your pelvis up and back for downward facing dog. We'll take this momentarily before we do our last ball thing. And I want you to just notice what it feels like to push your hands down and forward. Pull the heels of the hands up, pull the armpits up, and then see if you can wrap your triceps towards the floor as you push the floor away. Yeah. And then some of you might bend one knee and then the other, feeling how the calves feel. Great. And we'll go ahead and come to stillness, lower the knees back down. And then we'll do our last little ball thing for now. I want you to lie down on your abdomen. This one's gonna hurt, I'm not gonna lie. You might want to cock one of your legs off to the side. So I generally bend the right. The ball is then going to go under your left quadricep. And you're going to start somewhere close to the top of your hip, but not on your hip. Yep. And so we've already got a lot of faces happening right there. Some of you will stay right there and you'll just breathe and try to let the flesh of your quadricep, and Sandy's grimacing over here. This is amazing. You are always grimacing, yes you are. Some of you will stay right here and just let the whole flesh melt around the ball. Some of you will bend and straighten that left leg. Oh, yep, and that gives a different face on the top of the quad. Not in the hip, not on a bone. It's like literally in the belly of the quadricep. And you know when you find that spot because your body just goes, oh God. And so you see if you want to breathe. Why do you all know that? Okay. Fair enough. And then if you'd like, you might just stay right there. We're going to roll our bodies forward just a little bit to find a different spot on your quad. Yep. And that one might be more tender. You might stay there with your legs straight. You might bend and straighten that leg, but are we breathing? Nope. Okay. Yep. And this is one of these things I like doing when I go to sleep or before I go to sleep. It releases out all the tension in your quads and then you can sleep better. At least I can. All right, some of you will keep with that. Some of you will roll a little further forward on that ball. Some of you will start cussing at me. Okay. And then again, you might keep the leg straight. You might bend and straighten that knee. Maybe next time. And then you might take one final roll forward. And for this last one, you might keep the leg straight. You might bend and straighten that knee again. It gets a little more tender the further we go down for most of us. And some of you might roll, or rather internally and externally rotate that long leg. And I find that if I internally rotate it, I get to my IT band and that feels fun and horrible all at the same time. Fantastic. Yep, fantastic is the word we're going to use for sensations that are interesting. All right. I know, except for I'm not making you do the core work. Okay, and then we're going to gently come off the ball. Release that, come back to hands and knees and just notice how you feel. Yep, bruised. And then you'll go ahead and try the other side. And if you want to stretch out your quads before you do that, so like Sandy leaned back and did that. He felt nice for that, I'm assuming, but you might just go ahead and come back to your belly and try the other side. So your left knee might cock off to the left in the half tree. The ball will come under the belly of your right quad. And then I'm going to pay attention to people at home on this side. So again, you might just stay there and it's totally fine to just let your body melt around the ball. That just is a pin and stretch technique and you can just stay there and breathe. Some of you might bend and straighten that long leg, so your right leg, and feel how that feels. And each side is drastically different. So, yep. Okay, and you'll just take about 2 more of those bending and stretching if that's what you're doing and you're making sure you're breathing. Nope. No worries, Sandy. And then you'll roll down. So now the ball is a little closer towards your knee and you'll find a new spot. And you might again just stay there with the leg long and breathe. I've never seen you give me such horrible faces. And then you'll bend and straighten out. I don't know, it's painful, but I kind of like it.
Sneaky core work.
So Erica's turned this into sneaky core work. She's pushing down in her left leg, pushing down in her forearms and keeping her pelvis off of the floor. She's doing okay. She says it's distracting her from the pain in her quad. So there we go. Some of us will roll down a little bit further. And then again, you might bend and straighten that leg again. Relax your mouths. And your shoulders. And then we'll go for it our last time. And again, on this one, you might just keep the leg straight. You might bend and straighten that right leg. You might internally and externally rotate that right leg. Which is just breathing. Awesome sauce. And then once you're done with that, hands and knees, you're done with balls. And you might take some cats and cows, and then we'll make our way up to our downward facing dog. Yeah. When people at home, people in person decided to do like a counter stretch for their quads. So if you feel like you'd like to do that too, by all means, it just felt really nice. And then you'll make your way to your downward facing dog and you'll just notice how that feels. Great. And then I want you to just sort of check in. How often is it that we have things like that we don't know are bothering us until we start to dig into them? You know, and it's funny because that's kind of one of those things that I think we learn about in life. Every facet is just teaching us a little bit more about what's present. Sliding through your scapula. There you go. Push your hands down and forward. And then see if you can lift your head up a smidge. There we go. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and inhale and come forward into plank. Now there's nothing sneaky about this core work here. So I want you to press your hands down, lift up through your inner thighs and lengthen your tailbone back. And we're just going to take 10 little pulses. So you'll inhale and shift forward, and then exhale and shift back. And you're just starting to notice how this feels like. Seeing if you can feel the muscles underneath your armpits, your serratus anterior start to fire. Notice if you can lightly hug the glutes and lightly pull the low belly in. Awesome. And after you've done 10, we'll go ahead and inhale and shift our way forward, and then exhale, lower all the way down. Fantastic. From there, extend the tops of the feet onto the floor, draw the shoulders up towards the ears, draw the shoulder blades onto the back, and pull the hands back as you pull the heart forward. Fantastic. Start to reach back so much through your toes that you reach your feet and legs off the floor. And then see if you can hug your shoulder blades together and then hover your hands off the floor for 3. For 2, lengthen the tailbone. For 1, exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale up to hands and knees. And exhale back to downward facing dog. Great. Take 3 breaths here. And just start to find your breath. So sometimes when we start with myofascial work, we're not always breathing, but find your breath here. As you inhale, raise to the top of your feet. As you exhale, bend your knees, empty your belly, step or float top of space. Once you get to the top of your space, separate your feet about hip distance apart. Go ahead and bend your knees and drop your head and slowly roll all the way up to stand bone by bone by bone by bone. When you get to vertical, take a moment to really allow the head to settle over the shoulders to settle over the hips over the heels. And then when you're ready, you'll inhale, sweep your arms out and up and overhead. And then exhale, hinge at your hips, forward fold, Uttanasana. Nice job. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, plank pose. Take a moment to pause there. Take a moment to breathe there. On your next inhale, shift your weight forward as you exhale, lower through Chaturanga. Inhale into your up dog or cobra. And then exhale back to your downward facing dog. And then you just take 3 breaths. How can you find a different part of awareness in this moment? Maybe notice what's happening in the tops of your ankles. Notice what's happening in your side ribs. Great. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, draw the right knee to the nose, pause, lift the pelvis, and then plant the foot. Great. Take a moment to really push down into your front foot, really push down into your back foot. And then I want you to walk both hands to the belly of your right thigh. Now, this is going to sound weird, but you're going to keep looking at your tailbone. I know you can't see it, but look to your tailbone. Now, I want you to inflate your low back so you can widen your low back and your kidneys. Keep toning your left leg. Now, with your low back inflated, draw your tailbone down, draw your spine up to vertical, and suddenly we've got a lot more sensation happening across the front of that left thigh. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead, and take a moment to pause. Take a moment to breathe. We're doing great. See if you can lift the gaze just a little bit. Inflate the low back kidney area. Nice job. Next exhale, hands touch the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Option to stay right there, or inhale, come forward into plank. Exhale through your Chaturanga. Inhale to up dog or cobra, and exhale back to downward facing dog. And you're just taking your time and you're noticing what you notice. Noticing what you notice. Nice work. Fantastic. As we're ready, we'll try the other side. So inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. Exhale, draw the knee to the nose, pause, lift your pelvis, and on your next exhalation, step the left foot between your hands. Pause here, root down into your left foot, root down into your right foot, start to walk your hands up to the center of your left thigh. Now, really hollow the belly away from the left thigh so you feel your low back widen. Now, tone your back left leg a lot. Draw your tailbone down as you push down into your left foot, and then start to bring your spine up to vertical. From there, reach the arms out and up and overhead. Or just take a moment to pause and take a moment to breathe and see if we can soften any tension around our face. And on our next exhale, plant your palms, step back, downward facing dog. Option to stay there or cycle through an up dog or a cobra. But again, you pay attention and you make the adjustment necessary for you. Fantastic. And then you're just finding your breath. Can you hear your breath? Can you sense your breath? Can you feel your breath? Great. Let's move on. Inhale, gaze to the top of your space. Exhale, bend the knees, empty the belly, step or float, top of space. Great. When you get to the top of your mat, go ahead and grab one of your blocks and slide it between your shin bones on the first or second setting. From here, slide your hands up to your shin, push your fingertips into your shins into your fingers, draw your shoulders away from your ears and reach the sternum and the center of your crown forward. On your next exhale, we're going to bend our spine over our legs, bringing your hands towards the floor. Inhale, bend your knees, sit your butt low. And then from here, squeeze your block, draw your hands to heart center. Squeeze your block, See if you can lift the spine up to vertical. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and see if we can lift a little bit taller. Scoop your belly on the right side and try to just turn your left elbow towards the right. We're just going to stay there for a bit and you just breathe. You squeeze your block, scoop your right belly, draw your left elbow towards the right side of the room. Nice job. Inhale, come back through center. And we'll go to the other side. Scoop the left low belly, draw the right elbow towards the left knee, and you just pause and you breathe and you keep scooping the left low belly. Nice work. Next inhale, come back through center. As you exhale, fold forward over your hips. Plant your palms, remove your block first. Plant your palms, and then inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, bend your knees and step or float back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to your up dog and exhale back to downward facing dog. Okay, you just pause and you breathe. You pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice. All right, let's build on. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. Nice. Exhale, knee to nose. Lift the pelvis and plant the right foot. Great. Now you might want to bring a block underneath your left hand, but you might not. Same thing we did the first time. So you're going to push down into your front foot, push down into your back foot. This time, bring your right hand to the outside edge of your right thigh. See if you can push down into your left fingertips even more so your heart reaches forward. Now scoop the belly on the right side and start to rotate towards the right. Now you might just stay there, hugging your outer hips in, rotating through the belly, looking towards the right. You might lift your right arm up. We're going to pause here for 3. We're going to pause here for 2. We're going to pause here for 1. Listen closely. On your next in-breath, the right arm travels back, the left arm travels up, and you bring your spine up to vertical in a vertical twist. Fantastic. And then we just pause and we breathe and we hug the outer left hip in, the outer right hip in. Next in-breath, both arms reach up towards center. Awesome. And then as you exhale, hands touch the floor, step yourself back, downward facing dog, and pause. And you just pause and you breathe, and you pause and you breathe, and fantastic. On your next in-breath, left leg reaches up and back. As you exhale, draw your left knee to your nose, lift your pelvis, and then plant your foot. Pause, take a big breath in. As you exhale, maybe right hand comes to block on the right side, left hand comes to the outer left thigh. Push down into your front foot, push down into your back foot, and on your next exhale, you'll start to rotate your left low belly away from the left inner thigh, right low ribs in towards the inner left thigh. You might stay there, happy as a clam. You might reach up through your left arm, and you might pause and you breathe. And we're finding a lot of foundation, a lot of stability in our legs. Now listen closely. Next in-breath, left arm sweeps back, right arm sweeps forward, spine comes up to vertical, vertical twist. Yeah. And we just pause and we breathe. And falling out of it is A-okay. Next in-breath, left arm sweeps down, both arms sweep high. And then as we exhale, plant both palms, step back, downward facing dog. Cycle through an up dog or cobra, your choice, or not. And you just pause and you notice. How's it going? How are you breathing? Nice. All right. Let's go ahead and inhale, come down to hands and knees. Make sure you've got a blanket underneath your knees and shins. Fantastic. Now, once you're there, let's go ahead and slide our left leg back, tuck the toes under, press the foot down. Now you're going to push down into your hands and then float your left leg parallel-ish to the floor. Really dial the outer left hip down as you lift up through the inner left thigh. You might stay here as you scrub your tailbone back and inflate your low kidneys. You might reach your right arm forward and pause for 3. Pause for 2. Pause for 1. Next exhale, lower just the right hand, lower just the left leg. Take a cat and take a cow. Awesome. And then we'll go ahead and find ourselves back into our neutral spine. Press down into the hands, slide the right leg back. Squeeze all the muscles around the right leg, and then inhale, float the right leg parallel to the floor, really lifting through the inner right thigh faster than the outer right thigh. Now you might stay here. You might push down into the left hand and reach your left arm forward, and you want to make sure you're really inflating your low back. Now we breathe for 3. We breathe for 2. We breathe for 1. Exhale, lower the left hand, lower the right knee. Inhale through a cat and cow. Right. And then after you've taken a cat or cow or a few of them, you'll make your way back to a downward facing dog, and you'll pause. And you'll just notice how that feels for a moment. Right. All right, let's move on. Inhale, come to the tops of your feet. Raise to the balls of your feet. As you exhale, bend the knees, empty the belly, step or float top of space. When you get to the top of your space, grab a block and slide it between your shin bones, first or second setting. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, bend your knees, sit your pelvis low, Utkatasana, chair pose. Okay, we're gonna do just building on. We haven't done this in a while, so we're gonna see how this goes. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, your left arm reaches forward, your right arm reaches back. And so we've got this twist, and you're imagining that you're pushing your hands against a wall to the right side. You're sitting your pelvis as low as you can and scooping the belly on the right side. Left arm reaches forward, right arm reaches back. Nice job. Next in breath, both arms come high. Exhale, we go to the other side. So right arm forward, left arm back. You're pressing into an imaginary wall. You're drawing your outer right hip back as your right arm goes forward. Nice job. Next in breath, both arms high. Exhale, other side. So back towards the left or right. And you just pause and you breathe. And you notice how that feels. Last set, inhale, both arms high. And exhale back to the left. And you want to make sure the right hip doesn't go with you. Yep. Fantastic. Last one, inhale, arms high. Exhale, stand up, no more. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice how this feels. We are building up to that twist, but we're getting there. Inhale, circle sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Forward fold. Release your block. And then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees. Plant your palms. Step back, plank pose. Cycle through an up dog or cobra. And exhale, make your way back to downward facing dog. Nice. Okay. Let's go ahead and lower our knees down to the mat. Step your left hand a little bit closer to your midline so it's more underneath your face. So instead of being under the shoulder, it's underneath your face. Your left, yep. And then you're going to inhale, sweep your right arm up towards the sky. And you're just going to pause here for a moment. And I want you to see if you can draw your outer right hip straight back, push down into your left hand and find this rotation happening through the ribs. Awesome. And we'll gently release that. We'll try that on the other side. So now your right hand is directly underneath your face and you inhale and you sweep your left arm up. And you want to make sure that the ribs are the ones that are rotating and we're not doing this in our hips. Yeah. We'll go ahead and release that. Curl both sets of toes under, make your way back to your downward facing dog. All right, I'm gonna add on. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Fantastic. Now, many of us are gonna bring both of our hands to both of our blocks. And you frame your front foot with your blocks pretty closely. Okay. Oops, I got your haircut. You're welcome. All right, we're on the right leg. Okay, so some of you will stay right here. Some of you will make your fingertips a lot lighter, and then you can maybe even turn the blocks up. We're gonna bring our right hand to our right outer hip. You're gonna see if you can sneak your left arm to the outside edge of your right block, and you might need to turn your right block up if you're like, yeah, that's not gonna work. Cool. And you're just gonna pause and stay here for a few breaths, and I want you to inflate your low back. So it feels like you're rounding your low back, and then that gives you the ability to rotate even more. Yeah, you might just stay there. You might reach your right arm up. But we're gonna pause for 3. We're gonna pause for 2. We're gonna pause for 1. Next exhale, right hand comes back down. Unwind the left arm. Plant both hands. Step yourself back to a downward facing dog. Then you just pause, and you breathe, and you notice what you notice. Fantastic. Let's try the other side. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. Exhale, step your left foot in between your hands. Pause, bring both blocks to frame your front foot. Now, you might notice that you might have to come up a little bit higher on your blocks, and that's okay. First step is to just make our fingertips a little bit lighter on our blocks. Then you're gonna bring your left hand to the outside edge of your left leg and see if you can sneak your right hand to the outside edge of your left knee. Now, if you need to turn your block up, you turn your block up. Now, keep pulling your outer left hip back, inflate your low back so it feels like you're rounding it, and then rotate the rib cage to the left. Yeah, you might just stay right there. You might reach your left arm up, and we're just pausing, and we're breathing, and we're pausing, and we're breathing. Yeah, nice job. As you're ready, left arm comes back down to the floor block. Plant both hands on the floor and step yourself back to a downward facing dog. Go ahead and cycle through an up dog or cobra if you'd like, or stay right there. And just notice, how do you feel? Okay, let's move on. Inhale. Okay, inhale, raise to the balls of your feet. As you exhale, bend your knees, empty your belly, step or float top of space. Fantastic. When you get to the top of your space, grab that block, slide it between your shin bones on first or second setting. Again, inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, and then exhale, fold all the way in. Inhale, bend your knees, sit your pelvis low, Utkatasana, arms alongside your ears. Okay, so now we're gonna try our rotated twist. So we're gonna bring our hands back to heart center. I want you to push your sternum into your thumbs, thumbs into your sternum. Scoop the low belly on the left side and start to rotate towards the right. And you might just stay here. Here's option number 1. You might open your arms out. That's option number 2. Option number 3 will be to draw your left elbow to the outside edge of your right knee. So you have to bend your knees low. You want to scoop your low belly and inflate your low back. Yeah. And then see if you can push your hands into each other, reach your sternum towards the right. And you pause for 3, draw your outer left hip back for 2, yep, and breathe for 1. As you're ready, gently unwind the spine, still sitting in our chair. And then we're gonna go to the other side. So you exhale, scoop the left low belly, rotate towards the left. You might stay here. You might open your arms out. You might draw your right elbow to the outside edge of your left knee, and then inflate your low back. So it feels like you're rounding it. And then you rotate the upper rib cage towards the left, and you pause and you breathe, and you pause and you breathe. Nice job. Next in breath, come back through center. And then exhale, fold forward over your legs. That was a lot of leg work. Nice job. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step or float back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale to downward facing dog. And pause and breathe. Great. And we'll just take 3 breaths in down dog. So if you're visiting something else, you visit something else, and then we'll all meet in down dog. Nice. We're just wringing things out. So we started with ball work that helped us wring out some tension, and then we did some twists. We've got a few more to go, and we'll see how they go. All right. Inhale, press to the balls of your feet. Exhale, bend the knees, empty the belly, step forward, float top of space. Great. When you get to the top of your space, this time we're just going to bend our knees, drop our head, and slowly roll up the spine again. Feeling how this feels as we go this time. When you're vertical, just take a moment to be vertical. Let the head be over the shoulders over the hips over knees, knees over ankles. Right. Let's go ahead and bring our hands to our hips. Shift our weight to our right leg and see if you can float your left leg up. We'll just see how that goes. Some of us will stay right here. Some of us will bring our hands to the front of our shin bone, and we're going to see if we can pull our knee towards our chest or down through our right leg. Great. And we're flexing through that left foot a lot. Awesome. And then we're just going to bring hands back to hips, lower foot back down. Try that on the other side. So shift the weight to the left. Float the right leg up. See how that feels to be there. You might stay there. You might bring your hands to the front of the shin, hug the shin up, push the right foot into the knee into the hands, push down into the left foot, and then hands come back to hips. Foot comes down. Okay. Now we're going to bring hands to heart center. We'll scoop our low belly. We're going to rotate again to the right. Fantastic. You might stay right here. You might open your arms out. We'll just feel what that feels like. Drawing the outer left hip back, pushing the hands forward. Great. Go ahead and come back through center. And go to the other side. Scoop the left low belly. Rotate towards the right. To the left, yep. And then you pause there. And you want to guide the outer right hip back and press the hands into an invisible wall. There we go. We'll go ahead and inhale and come back through center. Awesome. Let's add on. So we're going to shift the weight this time over towards our left leg, float our right leg up, scoop the low belly, and rotate towards the right. Awesome. Some of you will hold on to that right shin with your left hand and reach your right arm back and rotate. And again, you're pushing your right arm into an invisible wall. You're pushing your right knee into your left hand into right knee. Gently release hands back to heart center. Come back to center. Release the foot and go to the other side. Scoop the left low belly, lift the left leg up, and start to rotate towards the left. You might stay here. You might bring your left hand back, right hand to the outside edge of left shin, kick shin into hand, hand into shin, hand, left hand into imaginary wall. Yep. And then we'll gently release that. Come back to center. Gently release that down. That wasn't so bad. Turn to face the side of the mat. Separating your feet about 3 feet apart. Well, this one is going to be odd. You are going to hinge forward at your hips, and we're going to bring our hands underneath our face. Okay. Let's give you some blocks. If you feel like your legs are longer than your arms, you might want to put a block underneath your face. Great. From there, let's bring our left hand to our pelvis, our right hand directly underneath our face on our block perhaps or on the floor. Lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor. And then you're going to start to scoop your left low belly and rotate towards the back of your space. And you might stay there, just breathing there, finding the length through the vertebra first, rotation through the spine second. Yeah. And then some of you will reach your top arm, your left arm up. And you just pause and you breathe and you feel how that twist is happening here in this shape. Awesome. And then gently we'll release that. Bring your left hand now to the block, right hand to your pelvis. Lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor. And then start to scoop your right low belly, push down into your left hand, and you can rotate your rib cage towards the right. You might stay there just trying to hug the right shoulder blade on top of the left. You might reach the left arm up. We're just pausing. We're finding this rotation that sometimes I feel more in my shoulder blades than anything else. We'll pause and we'll breathe. And then when you're ready, you'll lower the right hand down. Great. Now you're in center. I'd like you to bend just your right knee, just your right knee. You might walk your hands forward and feel what that feels like to then send your pubic bone back and your hands forward like you're in a downward facing dog, clawing the mat, finding space and length on the spine. Right? Go ahead. We're kind of walking our hands a little bit towards the right, but they're still also towards the middle, if that makes any sense. It just helps you keep your spine long. So it's not like a side bend, but more of a elongation. Awesome. And then if you did walk your hands slightly to the right, walk them back to the left, straighten your right leg. And we'll try that on the other side. So bend just your left knee. Bend your pubic bone and butt back. And then if you are walking your hands forward and slightly to the left, go ahead and do that. Keep your weight all the way back. Right. We'll go ahead and walk our hands back through center, straighten our left leg. Now this time, you'll walk your hands back and just let your head careen towards the floor and see how that feels. Fantastic. All right. Gently bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, halfway lift. Bend your knees slightly. Bring your hands to your hips. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back. And then slowly come up to stand. And then just take a moment to be vertical. You're upside down for a while. And then we're going to add on. Go ahead and look down and get your blocks and bring one to the back of your mat and one to the top or front of your mat. And you're going to turn them on their highest setting. Okay. Then you're going to turn your right toes to face the top of your mat and your left toes in just a little bit. And I want you to see if you can make a pretty long stance. So if you have to walk the back foot back and front foot forward, that's fine. Then we're going to start to bend into our front knee. Hug the outer right hip down and back. Let the inner left thigh roll in. Fantastic. From here, we're going to reach down and grab our block. You can either put it on the inside or the outside edge of your front leg. It's totally up to you. And then you're going to reach forward through your left arm. And you're just going to pause here. Now, we spent a lot of time working on rotation. So I want you to see if you can find that rotation here. So push down into your feet first. Hug your outer hips towards each other. Now push down into your right arm. Lift up through the right armpit. Now see if you can inflate your low back, your kidney area. Yeah, so that your ribs can rotate more towards the left. And then you see if you can pause and you can breathe. We find that rotation and finding that elongation. Nice job. Fantastic. As you're ready, you'll inhale and sweep your left arm back and come back to warrior two. Go ahead and straighten your front leg along. Remove your block if you need to. Turn both feet parallel to the short edge of your mat. And we'll try that on the other side. So the left toes will face the back of the mat. The right toes will face the back of the mat as well. Then go ahead and bend your front knees. Now that's your left leg. Externally rotate the left thigh. Slightly internally rotate the right thigh. Now go ahead and bring your hand down to the block. And it's either on the inside or the outside edge of your left foot. And then go ahead and reach your right arm alongside your ears. Now from here, again, you push down into your feet. So almost like you're on ice, you really want to push down into that back foot a lot. Hug your outer left hip into your inner right thigh. Now push down into your left arm. The left armpit becomes lighter. Inflate your low back and then rotate the ribs. There you go, towards the right. And you pause and you breathe. There's a lot of work happening in our legs. Nice work. Next in-breath, sweep your right arm back. Return to Virabhadrasana 2. As you exhale, straighten the front leg long. Remove your block if you need to. Turn both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. And we're going to add on. We're going to go back to the right. So the right foot points towards the top of the mat. Left toes point in. This time we're going to bend our front knee. You're going to reach down and grab your block. And this one, I would encourage you to have it outside of it. Keep your left hand on your left hip. Okay. And then you're going to start to wiggle walk your back foot in as you shift your weight forward, reach your right block forward and float up for half moon. Now, with our left hand still on our left hip, let's really focus on first lifting through that inner left thigh. And it might help if you bend your right knee just a little bit, because it just helps to steer the hips. Now, inflate your low back a lot, and then reach out through the left foot. Reach out through the left foot. That's the top lifted foot. There you go. And then maybe lift up through the left arm. Nice work, guys. As you're ready, you'll bend the right knee. You'll step the left foot back. Find your way to warrior two. Nice. Go ahead and straighten the front leg long. Turn both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. Take a moment to pause, and then we'll try that on the other side. Great. Let's go ahead and turn our left toes to face the back of the room, right toes to face the back of the room as well. Bend your front knee. Grab your block and make sure it's outside of your front foot. And then you'll shift the block forward, walk your back foot in, and find half moon. Great. And you might keep your left leg, that's the supporting leg, bent just a little bit as you lift through the inner right thigh. There you go. Yep. And then hug the outer left hip back and see if you can inflate your low back. Yep. And then maybe float out through the top arm. That's looking good, guys. As you're ready, you'll bend the bottom leg and step back for a warrior two. Yeah. Go ahead and straighten both legs long. Turn both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. Pause. Bring your hands to your hips. Throw your shoulders onto your back. Lift your heart up. And just take a moment to breathe here. Great. Gently, you're going to fold forward halfway. Then lower your hands underneath your shoulders and fold all the way in. And now that you're in Prasarada Padottanasana again, notice if you want to be still here. Notice if you want to bend one knee and then the other and shift your weight a little bit right to left. But you're just paying attention. Nice. Okay. Let's gently come to stillness if we're in movement. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, let's keep our hands on the floor. Turn to face the top of your space, low lunge. Step yourself back to a downward facing dog. Cycle through or not, but we'll all meet in a child's pose position. Okay. Now, once you find yourself in child's pose, you choose whichever child's pose works for you. So if your hands are forward, they're forward. If they're back, they're back. If they're underneath your forehead, they're there. And the diamond shape, they're there. They're wherever it works for you. And you're just going to breathe. And you're going to notice what you feel right here and now. Okay. We're going to take a variation, all of us. So if your hands are anywhere other than forward, go ahead and walk them forward. Lift your head enough that you can lift and look at your arms, and then you're going to walk your arms over to the right. Now, lower your head back in alignment with your arms. Pull back with your left hand and find a nice side body stretch happening on your left side. And you'll just pause and you'll breathe there and you'll notice how that feels. You've got one more breath cycle here, pulling back with the left hand towards the left hip to find that stretch on the left side. Right. Gently, you'll lift your head. You'll look towards your hands. You'll walk your hands through center and then walk your hands over to the left. Again, push down with the right fingertips. Draw back isometrically with the right hand to the right hip, allowing your head to descend between your arms. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice how that feels. Great. Go ahead and lift your head. Look at your hands. Walk your hands through center. Walk your hands back to the right. Okay, now this time you're going to step your right hand back so it's closer to your right knee. Put the whole palm down. Pull back with your left hand, push down into your right hand. You'll start to lift your right low belly up and rotate the rib cage towards the right. And you might find, no, towards the right, other right. Yeah, yeah, so you're rotating your rib cage towards the right. And we find this crazy stretch happening on the left side of the arm. No, yes, okay. And we'll gently unwind the spine, look forward to your hands, walk both hands back through center, and then walk hands over to the left. Now again, step the left hand underneath the left shoulder, push down into the right fingertips, pull back with the right hand, push down into the left hand, and rotate your rib cage over towards the left. Pause and breathe. Yep, fantastic. Next in-breath, gently unwind the spine, reach the left arm forward, walk both hands forward, and then just take a moment to let yourself settle there in center and notice what you notice there. And then as we're ready, you're going to slither forward onto your bellies. When you find yourself on your belly, make sure your head is still towards the top of your mat and your strap is somewhere nearby. I got you, Erica. And then you just pause. And when you're going to lay down, or flip over rather onto your backs. You're welcome. Flip over onto your backs. Okay. When you find yourself on your back, go ahead and bend both of your knees. Plant your feet on the floor. Draw your right knee into your chest. Draw the strap around the ball of your right foot. Great. And then you're just going to lift your right foot up towards the sky. And we're going to find a 90-degree angle here. We're not going super dramatic, just a 90-degree angle. So your thigh is perpendicular to the floor, so it's not as close as possible. And then I want you to see if you can arch your low back just a little. Yeah. And then some of you will extend your left leg long on the floor beneath you. And we're going to be here for about, I don't know, a minute or so. I want you to, first things first, every time you inhale, I want you to hug all of your muscles around the bones of your legs. So hug all the muscles around the bones of your legs. And then when you exhale, I want you to kick out through that leg. You hug all the muscles around the bones of your legs as you breathe in. Yep. And then as you exhale, you send the energy out. Fantastic. So that's happening in your right leg. Then we're going to pay attention to what's happening in our left foot. So we want to still make sure that leg is internally rotated into a neutral position. Yeah. And then you're going to do the same thing with that leg. So every time you breathe in, you hug all the muscles around the bones of the legs. And then you exhale, you send the energy out. Yep. So we hug all the muscles around the bone and then we kick out. Yeah. Fantastic. And we soften any tension around our shoulders. Great. Awesome. And then we're going to go ahead and gently release this. And I want you to switch the strap into your left hand. Oh, yeah, we're not done yet. We're still on this leg. Draw your right hand to your right hip. Now push your right hip away from you. And just like we did before, every time you breathe in, you hug the muscles around the bone, and then you exhale, you extend out. But this time we're going to cross the right leg a few inches over to the left. So as the right leg goes a little bit to the left, you're now pressing out through your big toe mounds a lot. Yeah, you're hugging the muscles around the bones. You breathe in, there you go. And exhale, sending it up. Yeah, great. Next in-breath. See if you can find a little bit more engagement on the muscles to bones. And then exhale, sending it out. Great. Let's go ahead and inhale, come back through center. Last little thing. So I want you to externally rotate your right leg. Yep, so your toes are now pointing towards the right. Left hand can come to the top of your left thigh. Sometimes it helps to like hover or think of hovering my left leg just an inch off the floor to just feel that. And then you're going to open your right leg without letting your whole body careen towards the right. So we find this fun stretch happening on the inside edge of our right thigh. There's a lot of crazy core work going on there. Yes, there is. And then you pause and you breathe and you pause and you breathe. Nice. And after you've taken about 3 breaths with your right leg out to the right, you'll inhale and come back through center. Gently bend the right knee, release the strap, plant the foot next to the other foot, and just take a moment to notice what you notice between the sides. Great. 2 more breaths. And we'll try all that on the other side. So go ahead and draw your left knee in. Draw the strap across the ball of your left foot. Send the left foot up towards the sky. Let's just be here for a few breaths. So you want to first arch the low back. And then hug all the muscles around the bones. Release, release. There we go. Try that now. Hug all the muscles around the bones as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, you're finding extension or length. And once you've got that going on with your left leg, if the right leg did go straight, see, bring more weight to this hip. Oh, that's a different. Okay. If the right leg's gone straight, make sure it is neutral. So it feels like it's more internal rotation. And then again, you're going to hug all the muscles around the bones and then exhale and lengthen out. You just got 2 or 3 more breath cycles here. Right. We're going to gently release this. Draw both ends of the strap into your right hand. Draw your left thumb to your left hip crease. Really actively push your left hip away from you. And then all those same actions. So inhaling, hugging muscles to bone. And then exhaling, extending out as you cross the left leg a few inches over to the right. And you just pause and you breathe as you feel this sensation. And as you press out through your big toe mound. And you press out through your pinky toe mound to up. There we go. And we'll go ahead and inhale and gently release that. Now we're going to open or externally rotate our left leg. Your right hand will come to the top of your right hip. You can hover that right leg just a smidge if you'd like. And then you're going to open the left leg to the left without letting everything careen to the left. Yeah. 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 That's great. And externally rotate here. Now then pressing this big toe and just give you a stretch on the inner thigh. And then you just pause and you breathe. And then on your next in breath, you come back up. As you exhale, you gently bend the knee, release the strap, and you plant both feet on the floor. And you just take a moment to notice how that feels. Okay. Let's go ahead and roll over and then come up to sit. Just because we have them today, we're going to do this today. Nope. Come up to sit. Grab your ball. So I was going to end with figure 4, but this figure 4 is so much better on the ball. It's going to hurt like hell, but it feels good. Okay. Did I take your ball, Erica? Okay. So we are going to sit on the ball and you're going to find your greater trochanter and the ball is going to go there. So your greater trochanter is the outer hip. So you can find that on you. The ball is not going on the bony part. Your finger goes on the bony part and the ball goes in between the bony part. Yep, so we're going to sit down on our butt. Let's go ahead and all cross our left leg under, or over rather. Yes, so the ball is going to go under your left hip. So cross left leg over, and you're going to pick up your butt and put your butt on the ball. If you can. And then you're going to roll. And yep. And they all started making faces at me here in person. So So this one's fun because you can sort of then just lean to one side and just hang out there. And this is getting the same muscles as a figure four stretch, but now I've got the ball in her butt, and you might lift your butt and slide the ball over a little bit more. And the closer you go to the floor, the more weight it's putting on it, so it makes it harder. So if you're like, oh, this is too much, then you just come out. And we've got whimpering going on, so let's go ahead and come out of that. And then you just go ahead and release it and notice what you notice between the sides. Like it's instant relief. It hurts like hell while you're in it, but it feels so much better afterwards. Or not. Okay, we're gonna try the other side. And now the ball is gonna go, it doesn't go on the greater trochanter, it goes in the meaty part of your butt. And you just go over to the right. And you might stay still, you might rock a little bit. I notice that if I go a little bit higher up on my butt towards my PSIS, so posterior iliac spine, there's more tension there. Sometimes it also is more tension if I just go towards the outer part. Sometimes it does just hurt all over. You were right, Sandy. And you just pause and you breathe. And notice how much your face is grimacing. And when you're ready, you're going to come off that. Yeah, I like that so much better than figure four. It's like my whole butt feels good. All right. And now you guys are going to do whatever the heck you want to do to finish up. So if that's a supine twist, if it is a little bridge, if it's an inner thigh stretch, you do that. You might even continue to roll around on the balls some more. You okay, Steve? Okay. What? Oh, Sandy, I forgot to tell you. Steve missed you, but he didn't want me to tell you that. He came in person. Yeah. I don't know if he could see you, but yeah. And then you just take a moment to pause. And you wrap yourself up and get ready to do your final resting pose, whatever that may be. And you're just taking the time to unwind. It's so funny how there's certain things that we don't notice until we spend some time with them. I feel like maybe we should just do an all balls class one day. Okay. All right. I didn't hear the mumbling, Sandy. Okay. Softer than a tennis ball? Probably not a bad idea. I don't know. Some of these I do with a golf ball. It's pretty nice. You have a phone? Oh, the ones from Kayla? Yeah, I destroyed that one. It didn't last very long. Okay. And when you figured out whatever your final shapes are going to be and you're ready to wind down, you're going to slowly make yourself into your final resting shape. I want you to take the opportunity to really settle in. And as you settle in, let's go ahead and return to our breathing. So I want you to take a big breath in and then take a big breath out. And you'll do that 2 more times. A big breath in and a big breath out. Last time, big breath in and big breath out. This time, as you breathe in, you'll hold the breath at the top, and then you'll exhale and let it all go. And you'll do that 2 more times. You'll take a big breath in. At the top, you'll hold the breath, and then you'll exhale and let it go. And last time, big breath in. Hold the breath at the top, and exhale, let it go. This time, you'll take a big breath in. At the top, you'll hold your breath and then see if you can suck in a little bit more air. And then let it all go. And you'll repeat that 2 more times. So big breath in. Hold the breath at the top. Sip in a little bit more air. And then let it all go. Last time. Big breath in. Hold the breath at the top. Sip in a little bit more breath. And let it all go. And now just allow your breath to fall into its natural rhythm. Whatever the breath wants to do, you just see if you can keep your awareness on watching the breath. And as best as you can, see if you can let go of any desire to control or direct the breath. And instead just follow it. And whenever the mind wanders, no worries, you notice that. And then come back to watching the breath enter and watching the breath exit the body. I'll leave you here with your breath for a few more moments, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. If there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape, by all means, please stay here. When you are ready, you'll allow small, gentle movements to re-enter into the physical form. Those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, start to make your way over to one of your sides. Pause for a few breaths on your side, and then you'll start to roll your chest more towards the floor and press yourself to a tall and comfortable seat. And then when you are vertical, I would encourage you to elevate your pelvis on a block or a blanket. And just take a few moments and a few breaths just to settle in. As my teacher reminded me yesterday, we are entering into the darkest part of the year. And very often that space is filled with lots of feelings. Some of them pleasant, some of them not so much. But the thing that he reminded me of, and that I'm going to remind you of, is that entering into this period of darkness is natural. It's part of the cyclical nature of all aspects of life. And the more that we can remind ourselves that our own period of darkness, whatever that means, is just a natural part of the cycle, the more we're able to just be kind and gentle to ourselves as we go through it, and the easier it becomes. So as you're here with yourself for these last few breaths, I'd like you to notice where in your own life you might be noticing a bit of contraction or slowing down, or things just becoming, I don't know, a little heavier. And see if you can allow yourself to remind yourself that that's natural. We can't always be expanding. We can't always be on the go. And that this will become the fertile ground for that which will come next. So we'll go ahead and complete our practice by taking a collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Go ahead and bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your sternum and then press your heart back towards your hands. Soften your chin just slightly, and then gently exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in through the nose. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. Draw your third eye or thumbs to your third eye. May your thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And then draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light within me, the darkness within me honors and salutes the light and the darkness within each of you. Namaste.